Today I have 10 tips for your website. And I am by no means an expert on websites. I'm not a web developer, I'm not a graphic designer. I have no affiliation with any real authority in the website space. I'm simply a person with a lot of opinions, and I'm going to share my opinions with you today. So I've built a lot of websites for several different branches of my business, and usually I go through a redesign on my website every year or every other year. So I've built a lot of websites, and honestly, I visit a lot of websites. So like I said, I just have a lot of opinions. We're going to get right to it. 10 tips. The first, I think you have to have a location. I think you have to list your location. Even if you travel everywhere, even if you travel all over the place, even if your location is split in different places throughout the year, I am always looking for the location of a photographer. And so are your clients. So are so many other people. They want to know some relative home base for you. So I think it's important to just be honest. Say, I'm in XYZ this part of the year and XYZ the other part of the year, or home base is here, but I travel everywhere. Whatever it looks like for you, just be honest and just list it. And in my opinion, I list it in multiple places. It's on my contact page, it's on my home page, and it's in my About Me section. So I am not hiding anything about where I'm from. I want people to know exactly where I am located, because I think when I am the consumer of the website, it's something I want to know. The second, you have to have a clear central message, and this message has to be a very cohesive theme throughout every single page and every single paragraph of what you're saying. And if this is something that you need help with, the marketing course that I have really helps get you from the ethereal thoughts that might be really, really scattered and everywhere to a clear, cohesive message for your brand. I think you should get it down to 2-3 sentences, one if you can, of your elevator pitch, of who you are, what you do, and who you do it for, and everything should flow out of that mission statement or that brand statement that you put together. I think you need a Facebook pixel on your website. So a Facebook pixel is easy to put in the header of your website. You just follow the instructions that Facebook gives you. But if you have a Facebook business page for your photography business, then you go through all of the settings and you can find your Facebook pixel, which is code that you put in your header. And what this allows you to do is track the people who are coming to your site and target Facebook ads to people who have visited your website. I think it's super helpful if you're doing any type of Facebook advertising whatsoever. Another thing you need is Google Analytics. There's a few ways to do it. You can install a plugin to put your Google Analytics number into, or you can put the code into the header just like a Facebook pixel. But the Google Analytics is very helpful to understand the demographic of who's coming to your website, the patterns and flows of who they are when they get there, their interests, all sorts of things. The big things that I look at is acquisition, so how they found me. It'll tell you the search words they were looking at on Google. It will tell you if they came from social media, maybe they came from Pinterest, from Instagram. It'll tell you their behavior and the content that they're looking at. So I love looking at the page breakdowns under behavior and then content and seeing how many have been on my homepage, how many have been to such and such blog, seeing what the most popular pages are. Another one I like to look at is called behavior flow, which shows you a flow chart of the pattern that they went. So they went from my homepage to my about page to whatever it might be. And the thing that I think is so important about that is because when I built the website, I had a pattern in mind that I wanted them to go on, and that is me being able to check and verify and see if people are actually following that pattern or if they're doing something different. It's also important to see the breakdown of mobile, desktop, and tablet, all sorts of things. You need Google Analytics there, and you need to look at your Google Analytics after you do have it installed. I think number 5, you need a newsletter sign up. You don't own your audience in so many different places. You sort of do on your website, but especially things like social media. I mean, just like MySpace folded and Vine folded, any day now, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you are, they own that content. They own those followers. And so it is useless to work so hard to build an enormous brand, reaching all of these people for it to go away tomorrow. I think it's very, very important to have an email list. So I have a newsletter opt-in on all of my sites. If you want to create a killer opt-in, where you give something in exchange for their email address, like a download or a video or a PDF or something like that, that is awesome. Whatever will encourage people to sign up. I think is what you need, because you want to own your audience. And when you have an email list, you do own that audience. No one's going to take it from you. I think number 6, you need a very clear call to action. And personally, I think on every single page, you need a very clear call to action. But what is the purpose of the site? What do you want people to do? Do you want them to sign up for the newsletter? Do you want them to contact you ready to schedule a session? Do you want to funnel them to some type of shop or sales page or something that you're selling to them? Whatever it is, I think every page should have a call to action and something to do. I think number 7, you only show the best in your portfolio. You've got to cull your images down. I think if it is an old picture, you just purge it. I think it should be current. I think you should refresh those portfolio images often and frequently. I think you should show only what you want to shoot, because you will book what you show. So I think it should be very targeted. Only show what you want to shoot. Only show the types of clients that you want to book again. And keep going through, and the older that those pictures get, just throw them in the trash can, show what's fresh, show what's relevant. I think a lot of people say for number 8, I wrote down mobile friendly, but what I mean is mobile primary. I don't think your website can just be mobile friendly. I don't think you can just get away with having it be okay on phones. If you go back to your Google Analytics, over half of your traffic is on their phone. Honestly, it could be 2/3 of your traffic is on their phone. I think it is essential that you have optimized your website for a mobile experience, because people are going to be on their phones more often than they are not. Number 9, I think you should have a picture of you. I think you should have pictures of you all throughout, but I don't think the first time your clients see you should be when you show up to their session. I think people like to establish a connection with somebody, and pictures are a really great way to do that. So on your About page, yes and amen, you should have a picture of yourself. It really confuses me when people don't have pictures of themselves on their About page. On your Contact page, I think that's another great place for a picture of you. Even on your homepage, if that's great. I think the more pictures of you, the better it is. I think it should be clear that it is you, though, and not a picture that you took of somebody else. So just make it clear when a picture is something you've taken and when a picture is of you. And number 10, major pet peeve of mine, have fonts that are easy to read, and not just the actual font being script, serif, sans serif, whatever that is, but the size and the weight. Sometimes the font is way too thin and you can't read it because it's too thin. Sometimes the colors don't have enough contrast. I can't read what it says because the contrast isn't high enough. Other times it is way too scripty and cursive-y, and I can't make out any of the letters. I think your font has to be easy to read. So those are 10 tips. I'm frequently asked a few more things. If your pricing should be on your website, and that's really a personal thing. So I've done it both ways. I don't think there's a right and I don't think that there's a wrong. For many, many, many years, I had my full pricing menu on my website, and that was when I was part-time. I did not have enough time to filter through all of the inquiries that I was receiving. And so when I was working a full-time job and doing photography part-time, I only wanted the people contacting me ready to book their date, having a date in mind and ready to book. So I had all my pricing on my website, so by the time that they hit the contact form and they hit submit the button to me, we were just ready to go, ready to rock and roll. When I switched to being full-time, I did have more time and I did have more capacity to field those inquiries and to create and establish a relationship. And so I took my full pricing guide off, and just in my contact session and on my homepage and on the experience page, I think I let people know my starting price. So there's so many ways you can do it. You can say nothing and have people just contact you. You can say everything. You can give people what, the averages or a range of what people spend with you, or you can put a starting price, and that's completely up to you. Another thing is if you should have videos on your website. I think that you should. Again, I love if the video could be of you, or a video of you in action is even better. It just gives people something to associate with. Obviously, video can show so much more than just a flat picture can, so I love videos on websites. And then the other thing is testimonials and social proof. I think it's super important to have that. I personally don't have it on my current website just because there was too much content and I wanted it simple, simple, stupid, simple. So I took a lot of that extra fluffy stuff off, but obviously it's great. So again, it's just personal preference. So there you go. Those are my 10 tips plus 3 extra tips. And I hope this was helpful.